Okay, so first things first, I am sick. Unfortunately, it's just like me to, get sick before I have to do like 5 videos at once to catch up on all my backlogs, right? Absolutely horrendous. So if I sound different, I'm going to be sniffling a lot more than usual. Usually I sniff a lot, actually. I'm always sick. Anyway, I hope to, do a more interactive. I'm gonna try my best. I hope to do a more interactive video here or review. The views I wanted for like the last two reviews or episodes of The Last of Us, they didn't get to like my expectations. Everything's about the views. All right, we all like views, and that's what I want, what I need. So I'm gonna hopefully. I wanted to do like a 50-minute, to an hour, scene by scene, what's happening in the episode, breaking it down scene by scene, seeing what's up. And I don't know if my voice will hold out that long because it hurts a lot. But I'll try my best. So we'll get into it. Now this episode is nuts, absolutely nuts. I can't wait to see, and I have no idea when this video is coming out, so maybe might come out after a bunch of other reviews have gone out or people I've watched. I am super interested about what people are going to talk about in this episode, especially like hardcore Last of Us only gamers that are very into the game. What are they going to think about this episode? Okay, all right, so if I'm going to just assume most of you have played the games, but people who haven't, this if you're a show only watcher, this episode is essentially all filler. It is oh my god, it's like 80 to 85% flashback, which is nuts. And not all of it is bad, all right? Not all of it's bad. I'm super interested. I want people, especially EFAP. I want to know what like Molly and Rags think, because I know they're like super in love with the first game of The Last of Us, as they should be, and they have a lot of things to say. They've been very positive about the show so far, so I want to know what they think about this episode, because it's completely out of the park. Now it is, again, this episode is all filler, and there's a lot of things to like go over, but we'll just start it. So we're where we last left off on episode 2. And yes, if you haven't noticed, I am using a pirated site. Ooh, I'm a bad boy. Oh, I'm a bad boy. Um, we last left off Joel and Ellie. They escaped the museum after Tess died, and they're around like 10 miles west of Boston, continuing on their journey. There's some okay dialogue here where they're talking about Joel's like, oh, we got to get to this place. I have a friend. His name's Bill. We can get some supplies there. Now this, oh man, how do I even express this? This is gonna. Oh, I'll get to it when we actually get to it. This is all okay. This is like the first like 10 minutes of the episode. Even before they like get to Bill's place, they're just walking along the edges of Boston to get to where Bill's house is. There's not a whole lot of plot relevancy, and them just walking and talking. There is a scene where they get to like like a Cumbies, I think, Cumberland Farms, to get some like old supplies that Joel's stashed away, and he stashes the gun, the automatic gun, because we can't have that because it's too powerful. And they just go through there, and there's some dialogue, and that's it. That's basically it. Then we get to our flashback. Now, if you don't know, this is where like adaptation is gonna go crazy for only game people who played the game, because this is not in the game. So The Last of Us I would say has this problem of making really like interesting side characters that don't get a lot of shine to them during the game. Bill is one of them. In the game, Bill is a very one-off character. There was no actual goal in the game to get to Bill. In the show, there is. Um, Bill just sort of appeared out of nowhere and was like a helper to Joel. Joel knew him. He's like, "Oh, Bill, we can, get your help. We'll get food. We'll get supplies." Bill obliges to Joel in the game. Now, we don't get a lot of characterization out of them. There are some like offhand comments about Bill having like some sort of partner, quote unquote. We don't. It's alluded to. We don't actually get to see who that partner is. His partner disappeared in the game. We don't actually know him. Now, this is where there's really the start of the flashback is. This is Bill's like entire area. Bill is a absolute based prepper. He is a man's man, played by the magnanimous Ron Swanson. Let's see if we can get him here. Ron Swanson. Oh, there he is. I find it funny how they also like gave him the mask, even though the spores don't exist in the show's universe right now. But I guess in Bill's case, he would just have the mask anyway because he's a prepper. So Ron Swanson here is the most absolutely based man ever to exist. He is a doomsday prepper. He has a certain set of skills that allow him to survive in this apocalypse, and it's very apparent how he could survive. He has metallurgy skills. He has survival skills, scavenging skills. He can build things. He can do many things. He has time management skills. Anything he's prepped a bunch. He has tons of guns and just supplies. For himself. Now Ron Swanson. So in the game, that's essentially the same thing. It's funny how like Ron Swanson is playing him. It's funny what happens in this episode too. But in the game, Bill's also a prepper. We just don't get this amount of like characterization from him, and I'm okay with this. Like we get like an entire flashback of Bill and his deal, with everything and what's happening during the apocalypse. This is like the very beginning of the apocalypse. Now there's a lot of time skips in between this episode. They're up until like the present, where Joel and Ellie go to Bill and find him. But so there's a lot of I like the characterization and the world building build up of Bill. I don't mind it. Now there are things that are just maybe I could see completely unnecessary. So if we can like skip through this until we find Frank. So Frank is the partner of Bill, alluded to in the game, but now we get like an actual. We know who he is now in this episode. We didn't know who he was in the game. And it's very apparent that Bill and Frank are in a gay relationship together. It's like, now listen, I don't care. I don't give a shit. I don't. In the game, now, as far as I can remember, they weren't gay. So, people, I could see, like, this change is completely unnecessary, right? Bill, what's his name? Neil Cuckman's retcon of characters that didn't need to be retconned in this way, right? Partner can mean anything, right? It doesn't have to mean lover. Partner can mean, comrade or something like that. A partner doesn't have to be a guy either. Partner can be a girl. It could be a symbiotic relationship. It doesn't mean they have to be actual lovers. But we get into this episode where this is like 4 years after the apocalypse right now when they find this scene. This is Frank. Now I enjoy Frank's character in this episode. It's not bad. I can just understand what some of the people I watch, they're gonna be upset about this because it's the message or whatever. But I'm fine with this change. If this is the least of the problems of this episode. Most of the problems with this episode have to do with plot device reasons, right? Specifically, how we go through all this episode, we see the relationship between our boy Ron here. Yo, dude, Ron was so tired of Parks and Recs. He had to he had to jump universes into this one because his other universe was so boring. He had to get away from he dimensionally hopped into the Last of Us world to come here to pray to grace us with his presence. My God. Now I'm okay with their it like builds a lot. We get a lot of introspection about, how they're apparently Bill's a virgin too in this universe, and Frank takes him on like the trip of a lifetime, basically. Now, Bill reluctantly lets Frank in. Bill's a very cautious man, which allows him to survive the apocalypse better, right? Because obviously you have to be he's like beyond paranoia, right? It'd probably be okay to call Bill paranoid schizophrenic, but that asset helps him in surviving. Now this is like the one case scenario where he's super cautious with everything. He's still super cautious with Frank until like Frank opens up with him. It's like, and this is a really weird scene. Frank just like happens to know that Bill is gay, and that Bill is a virgin. Apparently, well, a virgin to gay sex. A virgin to taking it up the butt. That big giant cocks up that ass. Listen, it's not gay if Ron Swanson does it. All right, you're gay if you fuck Ron Swanson's ass, not him. All right, let's be clear here. Jesus, and it's just a little weird. Like apparently, the gays have. My God, they have the radar, the gaydar, and they can just sense homosexuality within an individual, and makes it easier to fuck. you know, and we get this awkward scene after they have a nice meal. They're like, "Oh, let's play the piano." I mean, this is okay. Like all this like stuff here. I like Bill's character and Frank's character. Again, I'll say it again. I don't mind it. I don't really give a shit. It's just the unnecessary change of turning Bill gay for really no reason other than to maybe appease a certain audience that wouldn't even like watch The Last of Us, right? Or inclusivity's sake. Oh, see, I can feel my throat. It's already getting fucked. um, and we just get this absolutely hilarious scene where Frank is waiting in bed for our boy Ron, and it's absolutely hilarious. I loved it. Let's get it here. Now, yeah, this is where they make out. They do a little kissy kissy, like oh, so wonderful. Let's get it here. Hold on, boys. Give me a second. This is the not. This is the problem with using pirated sites. Ron Swanson. No, they're just in bed. Frank's like, listen, Bill, we'll take it slow. I've done this a lot. Bill's like, okay, like nervous as hell. Their relationship is fine. Like they have good chemistry together. Like I don't care. It's funny. It's good. It's just this entire episode is a massive flashback. Now listen, okay, so our boy here, they're both naked. Listen, I don't care. All my only question in my mind is if Ron Swanson had it up in this scene. I want to know. I want to know how long they filmed this scene, and if our boy Ron had a fucking giant stiffy doing it. I want to know. I want to know if our man kept it up this entire time when our boy was on top of it. Our boy Frank. That's the only question in my mind. I don't care. I don't care about anything else. I don't. this is the apex of where we could possibly be. Tell me, Ron, did you keep it up? Obviously, they have clothes on though, because we don't get to see their dicks or asses. But Frank ends up gargling that gladiator cock that Ron has. Obviously, his dick is huge. Let's we know that. We get banned from playing this. Oh shit! Oh fuck! I hope not. I hope not. Fuck. That's all right. So this is the start of their relationship. Now we get another like 3-year, 4-year time skip where Frank is kind of fed up with Ron's shit. And Ron is a hard person to deal with. He doesn't trust people. He's a doomsday prepper. He's very cautious. He's probably very demanding. He is the alpha. He's as alpha as you could be for a gay guy. And Frank wants friends. He is sort of he is kind of flamboyant in this episode at certain points, but at other points he's not. Well, yeah, I would say, yeah. He's the woman in the relationship. Who pegs who? I want to know. I want to know. Basically, Frank here is having an argument with Ron. Frank is like, listen, I want to change some things around our place. They have an entire, town as their area. Ron is like set up numerous, just like the game. Except in the game, it's slightly different. Like the area that Bill lives in, is slightly different than this like weird neighborhood that they've like set up to be their home. As far as I remember, there's like adjacent houses everywhere in the game where like Bill lives, and he goes around scavenging everywhere. There's like it's a huge neighborhood. This is like a concealed neighborhood where they are. It's weird too because in this episode they address that the QZ or the Fedra people haven't like been around here, even though he's or raiders even have been around to like Bill's place or even seen that he has this area and tons of supplies. And they just haven't come. They do come later, but even it's been like 7 years, and there's still been like no word from any of the like government people that are still around. There are obviously more people now. Back in this time, which would have been 13 years ago in this particular scene that's going on right here. So I would expect they would have like tons of trouble constantly, but I guess they just don't. They I don't know why. They're not. It's not like they're super out of the way from Boston. They're around maybe 20 to 30 miles away from Boston. Think of all the people that must have been like passing by through those years, getting to the Fedra place, doing whatever they do, right? It's just a food for thought, right? Like maybe that's a little weird. Why hasn't that happened? It happens later, but not now. Anyway, Frank is like, I want to change some things. I also want friends. Ron's like, friends? We don't fucking need friends. Friends don't exist. We're Swansons. We don't need friends. Ron is right. Ron, Ron is right. He's absolutely correct. There are no friends in this apocalypse. This is the introduction to Joel and Tess. Frank has been on the radio with Tess, and they're like, okay, we can trade things with these people, and we can do things with them. Right, Ron is absolutely flabbergastedly mad. Like, Frank's going over his back to talk with people who could do harm to him or the way of life they've created. They have many supplies, they have many things, but they also like need things too. Now, obviously, you can see here Ron has like a gun on Joel. This Pedro here, and Tess and Pedro are like, "Oh yeah, we understand, man. Like we get it." Bill and Joel are very much alike. They're both very cautious guys. They don't trust people. They take matters into their own hands. They're very much like the handyman of their groups. They can pretty much do anything you need them to do. They can be very savage at times. They're very dependable people. Very dependable. Right now, they're just discussing how they're going to work out trades. And in this arrangement, they've been doing this arrangement for at least 13 years. Up until the present. My God, my nose is fucking burning. I'm sorry, guys. And in this arrangement, Joel offers Bill, like, listen, I've seen your fence. Your fence is a little bit rusted. It's not going to last very long. I can get you things. I can get you 10 spools of aluminum, folded aluminum, to help rebuild your fence. And, Bill's, like, reluctant, but he understands that, there are things that he can't get himself that Joel can get and Tess can get because Joel and Tess are smugglers. And Joel and Tess are like uber veterans, right? They've been out constantly in this time doing, smuggling, probably picking on raiders, getting things for other people, fighting clickers, fighting runners, doing, they're like the most badass fucking guys that could be around, and even they get like fucked up sometimes. Like in the last episode when they fought the clicker, and how it was so fucking difficult for them to do that, even though they were old, and Tess died. But they're veterans, and they had trouble. So anyway, Joel's like, yeah, we can get you things. We can have a nice relationship here. Maybe not be friends, but we can like trust each other to like if you like you can give us maybe food or supplies, we can give you things to rebuild your home, and it's a nice amicable relationship. Tess and Frank really hit it off. They're like best buds. They're BFFs, bro. Yeah. Again, Frank is a little more flamboyant than Ron here. Now, this is where we get to like more issues of the episode that are just very unnecessary to the plot in particular. Bill here is much older than he is in the games. In the games, Bill is around the same age as Joel when we first see him. So he's around 50. In this, he's past 50. I know it doesn't look like that, but he's almost like he's maybe like 55 now. Joel's like 40, and then we get and very noticeably that's not good. Now in this scene, they finally get attacked. Joel actually warns them like you can't like stay under the radar forever. Raiders are eventually gonna come. Good thing though, Bill is like uber prepared about everything. He has like fucking like super like gas flamethrowers at like the front of like the gate. Where they like come in and they all these people like tripwire and hold on, let me see if I can get this scene here. It's kind of fucking gnarly. They all get like lit on fire and like hit the electric fence. Look at that, it's fucking nasty. He's killing them, and he gets shot here, and Bill actually think is gonna die, but luckily Frank saves him, so he's fine. Now we got this is another time skip. Then we're gonna get another time skip where Bill and Frank are unimaginably old. They're like in their 70s. They're old. And this is the problem with this episode. Bill and Frank are so old compared to where they are in the game. It's not like they can do anything. Now in the game, Frank disappears. And it's alluded to that we don't know if he's dead or if he just had a falling out with Bill. But now in this show, it's completely different. Bill and Frank are super old. If it would buffer, that would be nice. So, like I was saying before, I was interrupted by the shitty website. Bill and Frank here are at noticeably like aged. This is the present now. We're in like the present timeline. This is maybe like a month before Joel and Ellie actually get to Bill's place. You can see here that Frank is in a wheelchair. He has like some sort of disease. It's not specifically specified what disease it is. I can probably make an assumption about what it is. Not ALS, but something. He has like degenerative bone disorder maybe or something like that. It's because he can't like move his arms very well either. The point is Frank is dying. They both know this. Bill here takes a lot of time to take care of Frank. He like does a lot for them even in his like old age, which is all right. Frank basically tells Bill like I'm very old, fucking kill me. You don't have to keep taking care of me. I can't keep living like this with you. We're in the apocalypse. He basically wants to do a bunch of. He wants to have one more good day with his partner Bill. Now, all these scenes here in this flashback, very good. I like them. I like this characterization of these characters, even though it's completely different from the game and almost not plot relevant because we'll get to it because and he wants so Frank wants to die at dinner. He wants to take a bunch of pills, like just kill me, bring me to bed, and we'll have one more nice night. Bill decides to suicide. They do seppuku together, and that's that. They end up dying together. They get married. This is they've been together for so long now they get married. It's a long there's a lot of good dialogue in these scenes. Lots of nice, long, drawn out pieces of dialogue. The script is not bad. The problem is the decisions this makes with adaptation wise and plot wise. So they both die together. They both die. Very sad. It's very sad, in fact, how Bill would just like lay it. He's old too, so it's I don't know. This seems like a completely unnecessary change to have Bill be this old with Frank and die with him. Only plot wise. This is why I say this episode's probably going to be considered filler. And in retrospect, in the long run, like a worthless episode. Because Joel and Ellie get to his place. They find the note that Bill leaves. Bill tells Joel that, yeah, we're in our rooms right now. You probably don't want to go in there because we're dead. Probably doesn't smell too right. And it's been maybe a few weeks or a month since they've died. They just got here. And Bill leaves all of his supplies to Joel. Now in the game, Joel happens upon Bill He's like, "Oh, Bill, you owe me a favor, actually. Give me a car and a battery." And Bill's like, "You want my car? You want some fucking food too?" But Bill reluctantly in the game helps Joel because he does owe him a favor, and they are like buddies and they trade together and stuff. He also knows about Tess. Now, now in this sense, this could have all happened, right? We didn't, we could have had these like flashback scenes with Bill without him dying, because all that happens in this episode that's plot relevant is Joel and Ellie getting Bill's car and some supplies. Ellie also steals a gun. She's a naughty girl in this scene. She's been wanting a gun for a long time. They have showers and stuff. They get some food. Now, all this could have happened. They could have got the car, they could have got the battery, they could have got the supplies, even if Bill was there. So what was the necessary change there to have just Bill die, right? Because I don't know. Like, it's just unnecessary. All this stuff that it's a time waster of an episode with again. There's like 80% flashback in this episode, and it's a huge time waster. They could have done so many things. And almost this episode was clearly just pad out time for the series. I think that's why they did it. They wanted to pad out time for some reason, and it's I like the episode. I'm super curious about what other people are gonna say though about it. Anyway, they get the supplies. Joel's like, okay, Ellie, we're gonna go find my brother. He's in Wyoming. We have a car now. It's very. I like this like piece of plot relevancy too, because Joel needs to get Ellie to the Fireflies. Joel tells Ellie that my brother, Tommy, he was part of the Fireflies. So if we find him, maybe we can, connect you to the Fireflies. Even though Joel wanted to find Tommy anyway, because he's worried about him. So it's like killing two birds with one stone. It's kind of situation, and it's obviously, that's incredibly advantageous to have a situation like that. So we're gonna find Tommy. We're gonna find the Fireflies. And then we're gonna get Ellie to our destination, where we can do the stuff with the Cure stuff. Spoilers. That's basically the episode. Oh, so I think I'm done rambling. My voice is killing me right now. My nose is burning. I wish I could go longer. Just a few general thoughts before I end the video. So I did like the episode. I do feel that killing Bill in this like 50-minute flashback, right up until the present, where Joel and Ellie find them, it was very unnecessary. They could have gotten all these things with Bill being alive. Not that Bill was like a super important character in the game. He was just, he was just kind of a guy that Joel knew. But it's just unnecessary. There's a lot of unnecessary things. So I think I'm super interested to know what people are going to say about this episode. I liked it for what it was. I liked it. Plot relevancy, not really there. Not really there at all. Now, we'll see how this. As far as I'm concerned, it's a good episode. So we'll see what happens later. I'll be like I mentioned, Ellie stole a gun, so that gun's gonna come in handy in some kind of uh, precarious situation. Maybe they're getting attacked by raiders. Joel doesn't know about it, that she stole it. Maybe they're gonna fight some clickers, and they'll get pushed into a corner, and Ellie will have the gun to help them. Some situation that gun will come in handy for Ellie in a self-defense situation, and Joel will be like super surprised, obviously, when it happens. Now, okay, so I think I'm done. Done rambling. Again, I like this episode. There's just some weird changes adaptation-wise that maybe didn't need to be retconned, for this show. Other than that, though, it's all right. I'm sort of excited to see where the series will go, but how many other things are they gonna change? Right? They dedicated an entire third episode to a flashback of a character that's dead, right, and that we don't actually see in the present. What else are they gonna do? That's kind of worrisome, actually, in certain respects. But we'll see. We'll see. The show's not a complete disaster yet, so who knows? Okay, I think I'm done, guys. I gotta take a break. I need a lozenge or some shit. You guys have a good day. See ya.